Hey there, Trailblazers, I hope you guys are all doing well. So, just a few hours ago, we have received some more juicy information related to new characters and content coming to Honkai Star Rail in the upcoming updates. This includes another new endgame mode being added in version 3X, various new details related to CASTORICE kit, including info regarding her synergy with other characters and her general playstyle, and also new info regarding Hyacinth's actual element and path, and also her possible release date. But before we begin, let me just give the usual disclaimer that everything mentioned in this video is based on info from various different sources, and can be subject to change at any point in time. With the disclaimer out of the way, let's get right into the new info without wasting any more of your time. Let's first start with the new info we have received related to the new endgame mode. So according to some info from a source named Flying Flames, who stated that we'll be getting another permanent endgame mode in the upcoming future updates to the game. Furthermore, the source then went on to state that this new game mode will be similar to the Imaginarium Theater mode from Hoyo's other game Genshin Impact. The fact that the HSR developers are giving us a fourth new endgame mode after already giving us both Pure Fiction and Apocalyptic Shadow makes me kinda hyped, not gonna lie. However, I do have some skepticism of how a Imaginarium Theater-like mode would work with Star Rail's combat system. For the people watching that haven't played Genshin Impact, let me briefly explain how the Imaginarium Theater mode worked in that game, so you can get some understanding of why I don't believe it'll work as well in Star Rail, without major changes to the core mechanics. So in Genshin Impact, the Imaginarium Theater is a permanent game mode which resets every month with new challenges and rewards similar to the game modes found in Star Rail. However, unlike the game modes in Star Rail, such as Memory of Chaos for example, where you can use any character you own in any stage, in each reset of the Imaginarium Theater, your character roster is restricted depending on the elemental restrictions in the new challenge. So if the new challenge only allows you to bring in Pyro, Electro, and Dendro element characters, for example, then you cannot use any characters that aren't of those three elements during the challenge. Furthermore, this mode also has a character usage limit where you can only use a character a limited number of times per stage before they become unavailable. However, the usage limit of each character can be restored by getting a certain fantastical blessing card after completing a stage. These fantastical blessings work very similarly to the path blessings found in Star Rail's simulated universe, as they not only provide various buffs to your characters and restore their usage limit, but can also be used to recruit new characters, as not all of your selected roster is available from the get-go at the start of a new challenge. Now, if you only look at it from the surface, this may actually look like a pretty cool game mode to add to Star Rail as well, as it gives players more challenges in the game to strive for, and gives more reason for people to pull for new units. However, there are several issues with it if the developers are going to include it in the game. The first major issue is with team synergy. In Genshin, you can often get away with mixing different units even if they don't have the best synergy. This is due to the game's elemental system being very flexible, and most units function just fine as long as you can do their elemental reactions and proper rotations. In Star Rail, however, team synergies are a lot more restrictive. If you remove certain units from a team, a lot of the characters will stop functioning entirely. Take Firefly, for example, who is built for doing break damage. If you remove the Harmony Trailblazer or Fugue from her teams, she will do little to no damage to an enemy after breaking their initial toughness gauge, essentially making her pretty much useless and unable to function properly. The second major issue is with character viability. In Genshin, even old characters are still viable to be used in any of the game modes as long as they're properly built and are played correctly. However, in Star Rail, a lot of the old roster is significantly weaker than the newer releases. So, if this mode forces players to use these weaker units from their rosters, it will result in many players not being able to complete it unless they make the mode extremely easy. So, due to these reasons, unless the developers make significant changes to the game mode from Genshin, I don't see this new mode meshing well with Star Rail's gameplay mechanics. So that's basically all of the current info we have regarding Star Rail's new endgame mode. Next up, let's go over the new pieces of info we got regarding CASTORICE kit. The first piece of info is from a very reliable source named Uncle Hellgirl, who posted that CASTORICE does not possess a conventional energy system unlike most of the units in the game. but rather she has a special energy system, where her ultimate ability is actually activated through changes in her HP amount. Additionally, her combat skills can also be enhanced. So contrary to the previous info we got of her having a dual energy mechanic that still used normal energy to charge her ultimate, CASTORICE may end up having a special energy system similar to both Acheron and Fei Xiao after all. Another source also recently came out and gave us a pretty detailed explanation regarding CASTORICE's general gameplay and also her dependence on other Amphoreus units, such as Mighty Eye. He stated that while CASTORICE can indeed work as a support for Mighty Eye, however, a team where CASTORICE is the main DPS can function perfectly well without him as well. As he mentioned that while CASTORICE can maximize Mighty Eye's damage output, however, a hypercarry team where CASTORICE is the only DPS has a slightly higher damage potential than a dual DPS setup. He then went on in detail to explain how CASTORICE's general gameplay loop works. Basically, CASTORICE Dragon, which is her memo sprite, has very high max HP, and it needs to consume a certain amount of the team's HP to fully charge its ultimate skill. The higher the total HP the team has, the faster the charging speed. And generally, once the team's HP reaches a certain threshold, the dragon can act twice in a row. However, there is also a caveat that using the dragon's abilities also consume both its own HP and the team's current HP, and if the HP reaches 0, the dragon self-destructs, dealing damage equal to the maximum HP plus remaining HP amount. So you can basically think of CASTORICE as a remembrance version of Jinglu. She basically drains the entire team's max HP in order to power her attacks, similar to the blue-haired sword master. And if the similarities are not already pretty obvious, she also has a similar synergy with Mighty Eye that Jinglu has with Blade, where they're both HP draining units that benefit off of each other's kits. So that's pretty much all of the current info we have regarding the kit for CASTORICE. Lastly, let's go over some news we got related to Hyacinth's actual element and path, as well as her future release date. So, according to some info from a news source, that contrary to our previously known intel about her, Hyacinth is actually a wind element character that follows the path of remembrance. And according to some other info, she is expected to release during version 3.3 alongside another unknown 5-star character. If you don't know, version 3.3 is expected to go live around the 20th of May, 2025. Which is in about 3 months from now. So that's pretty much all of the current information that I have for this video. If you found the info in this video helpful, feel free to give it a like, and also don't forget to subscribe to my channel to stay up to date with all the latest HSR news and information. That's it for now, so I'll see you in the next video.